Progressive steps. I don't know why I tried to sound smart there. I didn't post yesterday. I was out of town with my brother. I went with my family. And I spent a lot of yesterday also practicing with my brother for his baseball tournament. It is what it is. So I just posted a lot more today. However, I finished It Takes What It Takes. Great read. It will be one of those books that stays in my possession as I move around and traverse life. It's like How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's one of those books. It stays with me. So today's word of the day. I'll talk about some important things I like. Important things that I stumbled upon that I've experienced before, and it feels like I am rinse and repeating content. So it's important enough that I need to look into it a little bit more. Today's word is licensee. 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 It is a noun and is the holder of a license. If you do not know what a license is, it's right above this one. However, that's the word of the day. I have to stay true to myself there. Also, that got moved over a little bit. I don't want that being left up any more than it already is. I gotta go put in gas this morning, so I'll just end up using the bike and let standby mode do its job. So, what a beauty, what a beauty, what a beauty. Alright. Alright, let's be honest with myself. I didn't take a photo of every single meal yesterday. Okay. We gotta move that closer. I took a photo of my protein shake. I didn't take a photo of the potatoes and cheese and uncured Black Forest ham that I had for breakfast. But then I did take a photo. I didn't take a photo of the Gatorade that I drank, the small little 80-calorie one. I did take a photo of the Oreo Cinnabon that my family had, or we all had, while we were driving north for my brother's. This is bird. Don't say bird. What are we doing? So, yeah. Quite interesting indeed. And nor did I take a photo of the beef jerky duo that I had towards the end of the night, like at 11 p.m. Excuse me. That doesn't sound like the greatest diet of the day. However, it could have been worse. Because at one point during the trip, I was offered a churro to have while I was reading, and I made the active choice, or quote-unquote active choice, to not eat it. And I didn't, because as I was reading the book, and what I'll get into now more here, that I understand after having watched The Matrix and having read this book, you know, what is it, in tandem? Because it was at the same time I was reading this book and watching the Matrix series. I ended up watching all three, not in one day, but the span of like 3 or 4 days. You know, watching them in sort of segments, one almost a day. And it was the illusion of choice that is mentioned in this book, and it's also mentioned in the Matrix. Alright, well, I gotta put in gas first before I continue this conversation. So, BRB. Okay, I am back. Also, it's a little bit, I don't want to say awkward, but it's interesting now that I keep the earbuds in my ear to hear the static, so I know to adjust. I sit like right now, like I hear it. And so, it's a work in progress. But the illusion of choice that's mentioned, subtly in the Matrix, it's mentioned in It Takes What It Takes. It becomes a bigger part of It Takes What It Takes towards the end of the book. Sorry, I didn't mean to say It's that there's certain things in your life or there's certain accomplishments that you want to achieve. There's whatever it may be, and let's say fitness is one of those. And that is the dominant thought within your mind. And the book doesn't explicitly give an example for it, and I believe books don't do this because they don't want to be taken literal, and they leave it up to the reader to interpret and process the information for themselves. And I also believe it's a marketing strategy from these like self-help and self-growth books to go ahead and buy another one that maybe, they spin it off in a different piece of information. That was something that was mentioned in the book as well too. Not the whole idea of the book marketing thing, but rather hearing it from someone else, because maybe you need to hear it from someone else. They just rephrase it in a certain way. Whoa, the audio static. I think it just has to do with how, just driving in general, and just the way the car's vibrating. It is what it is. Not really. I'm the one that has to listen to it, and so does everybody else. But if I could endure it while I'm driving, I know I can endure it later. So, what the hell? I only put 300 in. That even filled my whole thing. It's crazy. Well, it's like that for a reason. What I will say is, if I want to lose weight and build muscles, and there's a Cinnabon in front of me, do I really have a choice on if I should eat it or not? No, not really. See, and I believe that it ties into this concept that I've read not only in this book, but I can't recall the other books, and another name that was Reverb. Actually, the complexity rule, the complexity crisis mentions it. That's where this is. The Pareto rule, the 80-20. 20% dictates 80%. Vague. That's really fucking shitty ass fucking explanation of it. Holy. And It Takes What It Takes. No, let me not. If I remember correctly, Pareto found that 80% of the peas produced came from 20% of the pods. 20% of the population of peas in some garden produced 80% of the peas overall. That 80% of the supply. And this rule apparently transfers to a lot of different things, including sports. Whoa. And that's simply because something that was sent, and again, these are not exact quotes. Go read the book for yourself. You'd be like, you could write in the comments, whatever. Being good at something, even if you're only putting in, a percentage of what your full effort looks like, is better than someone who's busting their ass at 100% to give average results. That's the truth, and you see it. I'm gonna say commonly. You see it in movies too, or you'll see it, you'll see it in film. That idea where someone who wants it so badly puts in all this work, and someone comes along who is naturally gifted, and there's this sort of resentment that's built towards these people. And the book elaborates more on this idea too, that resentment being built. I'm gonna pause on that one there, but it tied into something. Actually, no, let me not pause there. I'm talking about it for a reason, for myself. I am not naturally talented or gifted when it comes to video games. So I put in like 100% of my effort to try to do really, really well. But I can tell you now, my hand's not the steadiest when it comes to aim. People who play with me know that. However, I will say one of my strengths is I can understand a game fundamentally and understand, okay, this is the overall core principles. I just need to go ahead and mechanically improve myself to actually go ahead and execute that. I am not an athlete. Okay, now let me rephrase it with this. I am accepting that I am a nerd. I'm going to accept that fact. I don't want to no longer not accept the idea that I'm not, like, I'm quote unquote, hold on, how do I say this? Pause. I'm speaking before I think. I'm like losing principles that I'm building for myself. I am smart, and I am accepting that. I am no longer trying to deter that concept in my mind. I am a nerd. I like nerdy interest. That is a category I fall within because of the things that I am naturally drawn to. I have to say that. That was the truth I accepted while reading. It takes what it takes to get to where you want to be. And if I have to be completely honest, business people, their moral compass gets lost and the person just becomes another number. I'm not going to say my moral compass is absolutely shot to think that. However, if I eventually want to make a business, I'm going to have to get into a gray area with my own morals. Just kidding. Just kidding. Because philosophers will debate that. How come now it suddenly drops? It means my morals were never actually cemented at that point. It's always been in this gray area. So I'm not going to discuss the idea of a business. Right now I need to go ahead and hone a craft. And, well, I'm great at remembering I am nerdy. So, yeah, this is... It's just... me not wanting to accept the fact that I'm smart, me not wanting to accept the fact that I can, or it's not that I'm smart, but I have exceptional, I'm not going to say exceptional, again, but some people you're cutting yourself short. I have great memory when it comes to academic Holy cow, why does it now get all shitty all of a sudden? No, I'm no longer driving. Actually, I can see why this pissed people off. Holy. Hold on. And so I have to leverage that. It's something I know that I'm good at. And same thing exists for when I play video games. When I get good at a video game and I know I can't aim, I shouldn't be playing a character that's heavily based on aiming. Like, that's just, as much as I even like the character. Some may say, well, you know, but like, it's like you want to win. And since you want to win, you know what it takes to get there. You can't play the character. That's all for funsies. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. Alright, I'm gonna keep this one short. I'm gonna leave that one there. Also because the static is something that I will need to work on. Again, I can just opt not to use the mic and just put it on a phone stand and accept that it's gonna go on a phone stand and record the old way, or I put it around my seatbelt and that's on my chest. I also just think it's because the pre-workouts in me, and I have to accept these facts. And yeah, it's almost 7:30. Thank you for listening. Mwah. And I'll be back later with my workout reflection. See ya. Alrighty, so this time I did not set up my mic. This time I'm just leaving it on my seatbelt. And I pray my music doesn't blast right now because I'm about to put it on. Okay, we're good. We're good. Alrighty. So workout reflection. And I felt an emotion that I haven't felt in a good bit. And it's because I let my thoughts get the better of me. And I didn't have a neutral thinking approach. I have to implement It Takes What It Takes learnings and very much other learnings from other books as I progress forward. But I felt sort of what seemed like judgment in the atmosphere, and I think it was just my own interpretation, and it's because there was some people I've never seen before in the gym. You know, you get accustomed to the normal people, the usuals, my bad. So it was a bit different, and you know, when those people are more built and more defined, you can tell they have a little bit more experience in the gym. I felt that pressure, and I don't think in that moment I internalized the idea that pressure is a privilege. Pressure means that I gotta go ahead and show why I'm there. But then at the same time, I remember that I'm running my own race, and these people are there for their reasons, and I'm there for my reasons. And the way that I'm approaching the gym is for the goals that I have set for myself that I wish to accomplish. And it's not exactly the way that they go about their workouts, which might be just the standard, typical bodybuilding method. So I am practicing and training for practicality, even in self-defense, just for normal lifting, for routine work, if I have to do anything at home or for a job. So, yeah, it was just in my own head. And this is important for my reflection because this impacted how I felt. I felt sort of nerve-wracked. And it's all internal, you know, it's inside your mind. You got to train your mind even no matter what's happening, to stay calm, to understand that what you're doing is for you, and to be in the zone, and to understand whatever thoughts that you might be feeling, that other people might be thinking, are just the thoughts that you're imagining within your mind. Unless they become verbalized, it's not the absolute truth. So do your thing. I'm a hog. And you were just like sleeping at the wheel, guys? And so, yeah, I still did track my workout. I wasn't at the beginning. So today was my tertiary, you know, my third leg day of the week. And this one is meant to be about isolation, my ISO movements, my leg extension. These are ISO / supersetted movements, except the ISO is meant to really focus on actually feeling the muscles. So when I come from my primary leg day, I understand, you know, exactly what the muscle is doing. I keep on reminding myself constantly what its purpose is for these larger compound movements. And are we just okay? And yeah, so I started off with leg extensions, and that was fine. I got up to 105, and I was you know, controlling it. I was, you know, holding at the top for about 3, controlling the negative. I went up to 120. That felt a little bit more appropriate, but I just felt off inside my head. And I superset it into some sissy squats. So I do about 2 or 3 just to feel the extension in my quads, and then I do some assisted sissy squats. Well, I do standing sissy squats, and then I go down to the bottom, and I do I call them sissy cradles. I don't know what they're actually called, but I kind of I cradle my legs in a forward motion to feel the extension, and then I went and did 3 to 5 goblet squats. It was alright. Again, I was in my head too much, and that was my problem. There's no one really to blame. There's no one to blame but me. No one to blame but me. I'm addressing this emotion, so come next workout, I understand that there is no judgment that's occurring. And if it is judgment, it is theirs, it is not mine. I understand that I am at the gym to pursue the goals that I have set for myself, with the plan that I have placed for myself, because I trust myself. So, I did 5 sets of that. Then I went into seated leg curls to focus on my hamstring. And this one, I kind of jumped around with the weight because I can really feel the pull in my hamstrings. And as much as that's great, I don't want to accidentally hyperextend or pull anything too extraneous. I could do RDLs. I can do RDLs at 135. That's okay. A seated leg curl at about 70, I don't feel needs to feel that type of explosive stretch. So I kept lightening the weight. I need to focus a lot more on these seated leg curls, on the squeeze and the negative, like I do a bicep curls, because the hamstrings are the biceps of the legs. So follow the same thing. And my biceps are pretty sore from yesterday. using that pause and the slow negatives. So I will go ahead and implement the tactic I have for my biceps onto my hamstrings for this tertiary leg day, to go ahead and really feel my hamstrings themselves and to really help strengthen the ligaments and tendons, the actual bands holding the muscles together, and reinforce that so I'm able to lift heavier weights and minimize injuries that can occur. After that, I did 5 sets of that, and after that my stomach kind of let it on me. I believe the emotion really pushed me, where it's like, hey, we gotta go use the bathroom. And after using the bathroom, a lot of negativity went away. I called it there. People were on the seated leg curl, or crowded around it. I don't want to. This is my problem here, actually. I will approach the machine when no one is on it, even if people are standing around it on the machine nearby, to complete my workout. I am changing the vocabulary I speak to myself in, because my brain will reinforce it through repetition. Okay, that's how that is how I approach this to develop and to grow. Yeah, cardio was great. It was my standard treadmill cardio. Normal arm stretching, core stretching, leg stretching. The usual for my standard treadmill work. So overall, it was a good workout day. It was a great workout day, because I learned a lot about myself in the process. I learned a lot about myself. Now, I don't know if Big 5 is open. I'm not gonna crash. I don't think so. I don't believe they open until about 10. Although there is staff there, they're just setting up for the day. I just gotta go buy BBs for my airsoft, so I can actually shoot the gun. Because I do want to shoot the gun. That's fun. And sorry, I'm getting sidetracked away from the workout. So let me go ahead and summarize the workout, and then I can go ahead and move forward. Cardio, again, it's still great, still working fine. Okay, sorry, no, that's not good. Summary. I need to plan time intervals for specific drills on the treadmill to have a measurable procedure or metric moving forward. That's the first one. I believe doing 10-10-10 is a great way to do that. That's my current. It's for the cardio. That's revolved around all cardio days. A 10-10-10 metric will work out well because it keeps it pretty simple. And, I don't have to set a million timers. Next, regarding leg extensions, I will be focusing on increasing the weight to really feel that stretch and pull on my quads. And really focus on actually the rotational movements, so I'm able to also hit the inner and outer quads well and concise. And so there might be an alternation between those on how I go about it. Possible incorporation of single leg curls to go ahead and have ISO movements. I will also do goblet squats before I do sissy squats, or those, the sissy cradles that I was mentioning, in order to actually blast my quads a lot more for this tertiary day. Regarding seated leg curls, I believe I need to understand and internalize that my hamstrings are the biceps of my legs, and that the movement will be very much, and the feeling would be very much similar to how my biceps feel as I move forward on these tertiary leg days. I will keep a consistent weight for both leg extensions and seated leg curls to allow for an accurate measurement of my progress. I will walk up to equipment that no one is on, even if people are surrounding it with the equipment nearby, to complete my workout. I understand that the judgment that I feel other people might be making about me is my own, and I must remember that I trust the workout plan I set for myself to achieve the goals that I have moving forward. We are all in the gym for our own reasons. I do not assume. That is this workout reflection. Now I gotta go inside and actually upload. Oh, before I forget, the word of the day, because that is my treat for these workout reflections. Yeah. Alright, what is it? The word is cease. That is going to be C-E-A-S-E. Cease. It is a verb. There is ceased, which is the past tense, as it has happened in the past, or ceasing, which is the current act of, or in the present moment, or the action of doing. And what cease means is to discontinue, stop. Now there's a noun version. It's cessation. What does that mean? The Latin word that this comes from is cessare. Cessare. I think it's cessare, which means to delay, stop. Now we have the ceaseless, which is an adjective. Ceaselessly, which is an adverb. And that's the word, cease, to discontinue, to stop. And I want to cease assumptions in my life. To cease assumptions. Because that judgment that I was quote unquote feeling was my own inside my mind. It was my own. Focus on yourself. Focus on your own garden. Because everybody inside there is working on their garden. Glad to be here. Take care.